Good afternoon, foodies. Welcome to the Gourmet Plate. It's really hot in Malaysia right now. 1 second. Yep, pretty hot. You just need to stand under the Malaysian sun for 5 minutes and your toast will be ready. Except, you are the toast. We are now at Jalan Telawi, located at Bangsar, Kuala Lumpur, and it is a place that is very well known for its myriad of bistros, bars, popular cafes, boba tea shops. But we are here to try an oddball that is nestled amongst the more modern eateries, and they serve banana leaf rice. Sri Nirwana Maju is a rather popular banana leaf rice restaurant that has been around since 2001. So, a quick introduction to banana leaf rice. Banana leaf rice is a dish that originates from South India, and it's basically white rice served on a huge piece of banana leaf along with some vegetable side dishes and doused in curry. This dish used to be a vegetarian dish. They used to only serve the rice doused in vegetarian curry like sambar or dal. However, in modern times, we have other variation curry mixed into the dish as well. We have chicken curry or fish curry and so on. And you can also order additional meat dishes or seafood dishes to go along with your banana leaf rice. So yeah, there you go. We are now going to place our order and we'll see you in a bit. Alright guys, so our banana leaf rice is here and I'm going to do my best to introduce each of the dishes to you. Some of them I know and some of them I don't quite know the Indian term for it. I'll do my best. So what we got here is rice and it's doused with 3 types of curry and it's just so beautiful. It's like a plate of pure white steamy goodness laden with different layers of colors ranging from yellow to reddish brown. At Nirwana, they have 3 types of curry for you to choose from: the chicken curry, the fish curry, and the vegetarian curry called dal. I strongly recommend dousing all 3 curries on your rice, which I'll explain as I start eating. We have also the side dishes here. And let's start with this. This is the cucumber raita, which is a yogurt cucumber side dish. It's served cold. And we have this, I don't know what is the term for this. It's probably some sort of like mashed pumpkin. And over here we have puda langgai barubau. To all my Indian friends, I'm sorry if I just murdered the pronunciation, but it's basically deep fried snake gourd. And I can already smell that aroma of that oily fragrance coming from this side dish over here. They also have smaller vegetarian side dishes. We have the more milagai, which is a sun-dried curd chili. It's basically chili marinated under curd and salt. And after it's sun-dried, and then they will fry this chili up. Nice aroma right there. Oh. And we also have this long bean sauce, a curry sauce. Let us start by trying the rice with the sauce. That flavor, wow. So now when I mentioned that you need to get all 3 of the curries, there's one reason for this, because each curry they have their own distinct flavor and function. For example, dal, it doesn't give you that much of a spiciness. What it gives you is a creamier texture on the rice, and it also gives you a bit of this very mild savouriness along with a little bit of this vegetable undertone taste. And the fish curries and the chicken curries are where the heavy flavour comes in. They give you that meaty savouriness with a moderate spiciness. So you need to really mix all of these together for you to get a flavour explosion. So let's move on to the cucumber raita. So a little bit of this nice refreshing side dish. Cucumber is crunchy, refreshing. However, surprisingly, I don't really taste that much of that refreshing sourness that I was expecting. In fact, I would say it doesn't really have any flavour. Alright, a bit of this, what I'm going to guess is pumpkin. This one is nice. And it's pumpkin. Absolutely pumpkin. A little bit of sweetness, some flavouriness. And I think it is fried along with mustard seeds. I wouldn't say it gives much of a flavour, but what it gives is a very nice crunch when you bite. I quite like it, it's quite natural. Alright, so I'm going to move on to the thing that they are very well known for, which is their deep fried snake gourd. I really love this. Moderately crunchy, a little bit of saltiness, and it has this oily fragrance. And that snake gourd, it carries a little bit of its own juicy flavor, just a little bit, not very present. I'm really surprised. It's such a, a deep fried dish, but it sort of whets my appetite and it makes me want to eat more of this along with the rice. You get the oily fragrance, you get all the curry flavor. And the rice is individually grained. It's a little bit drier, but the sauce softens up the rice. You can still taste every single bit of this rice grain. There's still a bit of bite texture to it, which is what I really like. Oh, this one here. Oh, after you get past that oily, crispy skin, you get hit by this extreme saltiness, followed by this sourness. The spiciness of the chili, it doesn't hit you at first, but it very slowly starts attacking your entire mouth and entire throat. This is quite spicy. Oh, this is not our first time having Nirwana. The chili was never this spicy. I don't know why this time around it was so spicy. Usually it doesn't even taste spicy at all. Probably a different type of chili. We're gonna have a bit of their rasam, which is a type of sour soup. Oh, refreshingly sour. It's got that little bit of acidic kick along with this savouriness. And this sort of acts as a counterbalance to a pretty heavy dish. Alright, gonna try that bean thingy. Gonna put it with some rice. Oh, it's sweet. It's not spicy. It's got a nice sweetness along with some sourness. And you can actually taste the bean's natural flavour, that beany taste. I would say, aside from the cucumber raita, all the rest of their vegetarian side dishes are really nice. They sort of present to you a wide array of flavour tones. You have sweetness and sourness from the beans, you've got the sweetness of the pumpkin, and then you've got that oily fragrance and savouriness from that deep fried snake gourd. Then you've got your rice with all the flavours, and that refreshing cucumber crunch from the raita. Of course, not to mention that chili, which is very spicy this time around, and you have your refreshing rasam as well. Another thing that is served together with banana leaf rice is a type of flat rice bread crisp, and we call it the papadum. The key point of papadum is it needs to be crispy. So let's see how crispy it is. That's pretty crispy, ain't it? There's this unique flavour in papadum that I don't quite know how to explain. It's sort of like a pea taste mixed with oily deep fried flavour. It's a really unique cracker thing and you can get quite addicted to it. So definitely try this out. It's very different from your typical potato chips. I would say it has more character in a way. By the way, I don't know if this is right, so correct me if I'm wrong, my Indian friends. What I heard is that actually a papadum is to be used like a vehicle to carry your rice with your curry sauces, which is why the papadum has to be crispy enough to hold on to the rice and then you eat it together. Let us try this out. Oh, you can actually hold the rice. I'm impressed. It brings it to the next level. Okay, our seafood dish is here, and this is the deep fried squid. And what we order here is the medium. So you can see in this deep fried squid dish is fried together with some curry leaves, some onions, and some of these dried chilies. I can really smell the fragrance of this thing. So let's quickly try this. The squid is slightly coated in the deep fried batter, and the batter is moderately crunchy. You can actually taste the spices in the marinade flavour, and the squid within, surprisingly, it is moderately tender and it's not exactly rubbery. It's got a nice chewy texture to it, and you could still taste that natural sweetness of the squid itself. And if you manage to hold on to some of these onions to go with your squid ring, you get the onion sweetness as well. This is a really nice dish. Very rarely do we come across banana leaf restaurants that do this dish so well. Highly recommended. You must get this side dish. By the way, when you come and eat banana leaf rice, you also order this drink we call lassi, which is a yogurt drink with whatever fruit that you want mixed into it. So what we got here is the mango lassi. deliciously refreshing. Texture is very similar to yogurt, slightly more watery compared to yogurt, but it's still pretty thick. And flavor, it's basically a mango yogurt drink, and I think they do use 100% real mangoes here. Because I don't really taste any of that mango syrupy flavor. It's not overly sweet. The only complaint that I have about this drink is that I think it's not cold enough, but I think it's a personal preference. Alright guys, what we had earlier is the basic banana leaf rice set. So if you're feeling fancy and you want to upgrade your experience with banana leaf rice, you can order their nasi biryani. Nasi biryani is basically a type of spiced rice. When you order it, it will come together with all the exactly same side dishes. And I noticed, for nasi biryani, they use a slightly different rice. This is generally a long grain rice. You can see that the rice grains are really slender and long. And we have also put all the curry sauces in, but we do have some of the rice at the sides. They are still pure, and we can actually taste their original flavor. The rice itself is already so flavorful. You get a very nice savouriness. The rice grains, they were still pretty tender and they have that very nice bite texture. So let us just mix the curry sauces with this rice and see if it brings us to the next level of flavour bomb. Personally, I think if you are trying banana leaf rice for the first time, I strongly recommend just getting the white rice version, because that really shows you the most simple and traditional setting of banana leaf rice, and you could taste all the flavors very clearly. When you upgrade to biryani rice, the flavors get a little bit overly complicated, especially since I added all the curry sauces in. So it takes you a while to appreciate all the flavors attacking your tongue receptors. For the biryani, maybe you can ask them to separate the curry sauces and then you add it in as you want to. Having the sauces on could end up being a little bit of an overkill. It does feel a little bit overly salty. I think it's due to the fish curry. Alright guys, we're done with our meal. Really full. Plating time! We're going to do this plating time with Post Malone with us. I would say the artists in Malaysia are really pretty impressive. Sri Nirwana Maju dishes out some really decent banana leaf rice. I think the star lies in their curry sauces. Their curry sauces are extremely flavorful and multi-layered. And this is probably the best curry sauce that we have had compared to quite a few of the other rather popular banana leaf rice spots. Their vegetarian side dishes are pretty decent as well, especially that deep fried snake god. That was awesome. Personally, I feel that for banana leaf rice to shine, it really lies entirely with the basic rice set itself. And if you have a really good textured rice along with flavorful curries, that is half the battle won. And the additional meat or seafood dishes are really just there for an added flavor layering. I wouldn't say they are that important, and I think Nirwana really hit the right spot. With that being said, right, we have been eating Nirwana for quite a while, and I noticed that they do have some consistency issues. They have good days where their rice just awes you, and then they are the decent days where you're like, it's pretty decent but far from the best they could do. And I think today is one of those days. But I still personally find that Nirwana is still the most consistent and most flavorful banana leaf rice establishment compared to the rest that we have tried. So still recommend this place. Come and try them out. They are really good. And with that, Nirwana scores an OK on the Gourmet Plate, which means they are pretty decent. So that concludes our review for this particular establishment. If you liked our food videos, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell button. Till we meet again in the next food episode. Bye!